Good morning, and welcome to the inauguration of the University of Minnesota Morris 7th Chancellor, Dr. Janet Schrunk Ericksen. The University of Minnesota Morris was founded in 1959 as the University of Minnesota's public liberal arts campus. We have remained steadfast in our dedication to this core mission, and today are recognized as one of the nation's top public liberal arts colleges, one of its greenest campuses, a best value in higher education, and the home of a transformative undergraduate education for a very, very talented and diverse student body. As Chancellor, Dr. Ericksen leads our efforts to realize our strategic vision. The University of Minnesota Morris will be a national leader in collaborative and innovative 21st century liberal arts education, grounded in our sense of history and place and our commitments to access and sustainability. We will integrate scholarly and creative work, community building, and outreach into our rigorous academic programs. Our diverse community will inspire and equip our students to connect their passions to meaningful futures. We welcome Chancellor Ericksen's leadership with us in advancing our vision, our core commitments, and our institutional priorities adopted by our campus assembly, and we celebrate and align this work with the University of Minnesota's Impact 2025 commitments in our partnership with the state of Minnesota. We begin today's program by acknowledging our place on these lands. In doing so, we affirm tribal sovereignty and express respect for Native peoples and nations. The University of Minnesota Morris is located along Owobopte Wakpa, a place from which Dakota turnips have been dug river, on the edge of Mashkote Aking, prairie land. This land has been cared for and called home by the Dakota people, and later the Ojibwe people and other native peoples from time immemorial. Our state's name, Minnesota, comes from the Dakota name for this region, Minnesota, Makoche, the land where the waters reflect the skies. Acknowledging the land and our history in this place is an offering of solidarity and respect for Native nations and peoples. In doing so, we, the University of Minnesota Morris, reaffirm our commitment to our responsibilities rooted in the history of our campus site as a Native American boarding school, our distinctive mission as a public liberal arts college within Minnesota's land-grant university, and our federal recognition as a Native American serving non-tribal institution. We are very honored to welcome a number of esteemed guests who are celebrating this day with us. First, we welcome the University of Minnesota Board of Regents Chair, Janie Mayron, and Regents Penny Wheeler, Mary Turner, and James Farnsworth. And Regents, we value their stewardship of the university. We are also very happy to welcome the University of Minnesota's interim president, Jeff Ettinger, back to Morris and to celebrate today with Chancellors Laurie Carroll, Mary Holsclaws, and David McMillan from our Rochester, Crookston, and Duluth campuses, respectively. Welcome to our University of Minnesota system leaders and colleagues, including Rachel Croson, Executive Vice President and Provost. Rachel, we greatly value your partnership and support for the Morris campus. I can't see very well, but okay, somewhere here. Okay. And we celebrate today with Chancellor Emerita Michelle Baer. Welcome back, Michelle. It's really good to see you again. And we recognize among our institutional delegates John F. Schwaller, past president of SUNY Potsdam and past academic dean at University of Minnesota Morris, Paula O'Loughlin, Augsburg University provost and senior vice president for academic and student affairs, who was a longtime member of our Morris Political Science faculty, and our distinguished alumnus, Michael Rodriguez, Dean of the University of Minnesota Twin Cities College of Education and Human Development. We also recognize special friends of the Morris campus, Arden Granger, who with her spouse, Steve Granger, helped to found the University of Minnesota Morris in 1960, Leslie Harper from the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe, who chairs our American Indian Advisory Committee, distinguished alumna, the Honorable Laurie Gilday, who we congratulate on her retirement as Chief Justice of the Minnesota Supreme Court, and our mayor of the wonderful city of Morris and alumnus, Kevin Wallace. We welcome members of the Schrunk and Ericksen families. I want to thank you very much for traveling to be with us here today from Kansas City, Chicago, and Minneapolis. And all of us here are extremely grateful to all of the families of Janet for your willingness to share Janet with us all here at Morris. So I just want to say that, okay. And now I want to recognize our University of Minnesota Morris campus leaders and community members, including our campus assembly leaders, our academic division chairs, distinguished members of the Platform Party, our wonderful faculty and staff, alumni, students, and friends. Thank you. And now I'm happy to introduce our first speaker. Amy Klobuchar, Senior United States Senator from Minnesota, is a friend of the University of Minnesota campus. She was the first woman elected to serve Minnesota in the Senate. Now in her third Senate term, Senator Klobuchar's committee appointments include the Senate Judiciary Committee, Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee, and the Joint Economic Committee. She is also a ranking member of the Rules and Administration Committee. It is my honor to introduce a video greeting from United States Senator Amy Klobuchar to help us celebrate this day. Amy.
Hello to all the students, faculty, and distinguished guests. You're all distinguished. Gathering today for the inauguration of Chancellor Janet Schrunk Ericksen. I so wish I could be there with you in person, and I cherish my visit to the college. I want to thank Chancellor Ericksen for her leadership as acting chancellor and her predecessor for her years of service to the University of Minnesota Morris. Thank you so much, Michelle. Today we are celebrating not just a new chancellor, but a new chapter for Morris. Your school holds a special place in my heart. I've had more than a few Cougars on my staff over the years. My outreach director, Ruby, actually started working with my office after I did the commencement speech for her class, came down to Morris. I still remember it was a beautiful day outside. And I was listening to her speech. I'm like, this woman is incredible. She was a class speaker. And then I got up to the podium. I said, Ruby, you did such a great job. Maybe you want a job with us. She does work for us. The rest is history. Morris attracts driven students like Ruby thanks to your faculty's incredible leadership. And Chancellor Ericksen, you've been a leader since the beginning. Your fellow faculty members have long admired your passionate involvement in campus governance, and your students appreciate your dedication to their success. These are definitely important qualities for someone in your position. But I'm also impressed by your style, both in and outside of the classroom. I don't know a lot of university chancellors, but I don't think any of them have climbed an Icelandic mountain in a dress. We'll leave that for later. You've done so much for Morris, from leading the university through the end of the pandemic to expanding financial aid for students in need. I can't think of a better person to lead UMM at this moment, where the commitment to doing right by students is matched by a commitment to doing right to our state, our country, and the world. I just want to take an extra moment to talk about what makes Morris special. This is a premier public liberal arts college, offering an education that doesn't just prepare students for a successful career, but encourages them to see the world from new perspectives and to continue learning and growing throughout their lives. And every time your school transforms a bright-eyed freshman into a leader of tomorrow, it doesn't just make a difference for that student, it changes the course of our state and our country. It means a stronger workforce, a stronger economy, and a stronger America. That's the power of education. And here's some more good news. You've got momentum. Your chemistry department emerged from the pandemic stronger than ever with a new and improved lab. Your students are leading efforts to bring clean energy into rural America. You're getting more Native American students to pursue astrophysics with the grant for the National Science Foundation. And your thousands of alums are demonstrating the power of a Morris education every single day, leading cutting-edge research at Mayo, taking disco fans to Funky Town, and serving as our state's top judge. That's right, you know, Chief Judge Gilday, who just retired after 13 years on the bench. Chancellor Ericksen, I know you're committed to leading the University of Minnesota Morris at this pivotal moment. Congratulations on the incredible, well-deserved accomplishment. Thank you so much. Have a great day today.
Thank you to Senator Klobuchar. And now, next speaker, I will introduce next speaker, Dr. Ericksen's longtime colleague, Professor Emerita of Education Gwen Rudney, served the University of Minnesota Morris for more than 30 years and was a consistently positive light for those who worked with her. Gwen chaired our Division of Education for 11 years and served as president of the Minnesota Association of Colleges of Teacher Education. She received the University of Minnesota Morris Alumni Association Teaching Award in 2004 and the University of Minnesota System's Horst T. Morris Award for Outstanding Contributions to Undergraduate Education in 2010. Gwen and I have created quite a number of good trouble during our years in our roles as division chair, and it is always nice to see her back on campus again. Gwen?
Good morning. Thank you, Pei, for those nice words. I am so happy to be back on campus, to see my old friends and to meet new friends. I just love this place, as most of us do. It is an honor to be here to talk just a bit about our friend and colleague, Chancellor Ericksen, Janet. I have some comments addressed just to you, so I have to turn around here. This is an important day for her, of course, but I think it's an important day for all of us, the University of Minnesota Morris and all of us who love it so much. Janet once shared that she grew her career here, beginning as an assistant professor and achieving ranks of associate and full. Among her many roles here, she served as discipline coordinator, division chair, vice chancellor for academic affairs, and dean, and now she is our chancellor. I feel so lucky to have been able to know her and work with her along the way. I remember her arrival. She had 2 little boys and a nice husband. She was tall. She had a great laugh. She was in English. She always wore skirts. Janet, that is something we've noticed about you. She baked very tasty cakes. Obviously, I didn't know her that well professionally at first, but I got to know her. At various meetings and campus assembly, she showed herself to be smart and well-spoken, and she was brave enough to speak up when needed, even as a new faculty member. That doesn't always happen, but she did it, and she did it well. I learned that she taught the grammar and language class that many of our elementary education majors took. My bachelor's degree was in linguistics, and I was very excited about her interest in syntax and verb conjugation, correct usage, and how to parse and diagram sentences. The use of I versus me was a major topic for us, and I'm not sure there are that many of us who get excited about that, so it was a lot of fun for me. My daughter took that course, by the way, and she told me that what I knew about Janet was correct. She was smart, knowledgeable, and energetic, and she was willing and able both to support and challenge her students. It was when Janet and I became division chairs at the same time, she the chair of humanities and I of education, that we became close colleagues and good friends. Pei, maybe we were part of making that good trouble with you. Being new at anything can be challenging. I personally hate it, and it's very painful. I always tell my students, you just have to be new until you're not new anymore. And that's how it was for Janet and for me. We were new division chairs, and we had a lot to learn. We had to be new until we weren't new anymore, but we were new together, and for me, that made all the difference. We had a lot to learn, but boy, we had a lot of laughs. And did I ever benefit from working with her? In addition to everything I'd noticed before, I learned that Janet is a problem solver. She's well organized, she's focused, and she can be relentless in her pursuit of important goals. And Janet, this part is absolutely true. Ready? She knows, uses, and perhaps even loves policy. I would bring up an issue, we'd be at one of our many meetings, I'd bring up an issue and I'd say, I don't know, how do you think we should solve that? And she'd say, well, have you checked the university policy library? No, I would say, I have not checked that. She'd whip out her laptop and have the appropriate policy in a flash and interpret it and apply it and send the link. Done and done. It was brilliant. As we continued to work together, I learned more about what makes Janet tick. Of most importance was the joy she would radiate when talking about her family. She's a devoted wife, mom, sister, and daughter. There were some other interesting things, too. I'd see her heading for the pool at lunch. She's a swimmer. She had a long conversation with then-Chancellor Jackie Johnson about what kind of floor dancers would need. She's a dancer. I asked her what she was doing over the weekend. She said, we're taking the boat out. She's a sailor. And we all know that every once in a while, she slips into Old English. Which we might not understand, but still, it's quite impressive. I love it. When Janet became dean, she brought the same skills, organization, and energy to her new position. She was a great dean and supported Morris's mission and the things that would make our people thrive. As my boss now, she supported and encouraged me. Now she brings this knowledge and commitment to her new role as our chancellor. She is the right person for this job, and I'm excited for her and immensely proud of her. As I thought about these comments, something became very clear to me. Janet is like our wonderful Morris students in her skills and varied interests in so many things, in her smartness and her willingness to speak up, in her ability to advocate, in her love of the liberal arts and its interdisciplinarity. Here's an example. She's a medievalist. I mean, we're throwing acts after this, so, you know, it all fits in. She's a medievalist. She studies medieval literature for its own sake. She also connects it to history and art, and she connects its themes and ideas to the present. She takes students to York to see and experience the world of the medieval literature they are studying. It's liberal arts at its best. Like our students, she chose public universities to attend, the University of Kansas for her bachelor's and University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign for her advanced degrees. Like many of our students, she was the first in her family to get a general education degree and the first to get a doctorate. Perhaps it is these shared characteristics that make Janet fiercely loyal to Morris, to the people who work or have worked here, to the community and those who support it, especially to our students and alumni. Chancellor Ericksen, Janet, I am proud of you, and along with everyone here, wish you a satisfying and successful experience in this vital role. We thank you for all of the talent and skill you bring, for that fierce loyalty of yours, for your commitment to Morris, and for your willingness to lead. You're going to do great.
Thank you, Professor Rodney. Our next speaker is Jim Toges, Professor Emeritus of Chemistry and beloved fixture of our campus. Jim began his career at the University of Minnesota Morris in 1961. He taught in both the chemistry discipline and the honors program. Jim is a recipient of the, get this, 1975 Horace T. Morris Minnesota Alumni Association Award for Outstanding Contributions to Undergraduate Education. Although he retired from service to the chemistry discipline after teaching for more than 50 years, he has continued teaching honors courses during his retirement. His interests are wide-ranging, and Jim Toges could truly be described as a Renaissance man. So today, you will not be hearing a chemistry lecture, but instead, a poem that he wrote. Jim?
If this is not a party, then we ought to have a party in celebration, which doesn't quite explain our presence here. It's October's inauguration feat. Our colleague, Janet, is our chancellor. We have each journeyed to this northern plain, not so much by mind-numbing interstates or county back roads as paths of vision, to teach, research, pursue what cranks our dreams, to be a kind of catalyst for youth, the world of ideas, creative lives, a sense of what it is at the heart of things. Janet's paths include the North Sea's shore, early medieval sites of mythic names, Northumbria, Bede, Jarrow, Lindisfarne. She and David there with student cohorts. And Iceland, with its brawling saga clans, who adjudicated disagreements without committees. No plans afoot revising UMM's constitution. And Oxford's great Bodleian libraries, whose porter brings the vellum manuscript, Junius 11, poems, prophecies, the start of the Via Longisima, the long road, as the alchemists called it, to her book, many years in the writing. Our college weather had its months of gloom. 2020, ocular metaphor for seeing well with clarity and verve. Instead, the year was all pandemic murk, with classrooms closed and scholars sent away to teach and learn at home, that Zoomy thing. Unlike the plague at Cambridge, Newton home, at the farm, in idle rustication, inventing calculus, color theory, demonstrating moon and apple obey the same mathematical rule, while I, in my hither-thither rustication, had nary an apple bounce off my noggin. And who said, in a much occluded thought, our college had too much diversity? A wimpish tempest, driving none of us to drink. Though now and again I swig one. Although my home is this landlocked prairie, I close perversely with a nautical theme. To hoist the sail on the college schooner, to ply the prairie waves of corn and beans with Janet's skipper, anchor up, full speed ahead, to wish for her and all of us to use the titles of Goethe poems: Fair wind, calm seas, and prosperous voyage.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Professor Tojes, for your poem for this special day. And now I would like to invite our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs to the podium to introduce the honor song for Chancellor Ericksen and for today's celebration. Please welcome the University of Minnesota Morris's third Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Sandy Olson-Loy.
Thank you, Pei. The University of Minnesota Morris is honored to be recognized by the U.S. Department of Education as one of the nation's Native American-serving non-tribal institutions, and is the only four-year university in the Upper Midwest so designated. Today, Native American students comprise more than 30% of the Morris student body, and we are honored to have Anishinaabe, Dakota, and other Native American cultures, languages, and lifeways increasingly a part of our campus life. Today, we remember our shared histories, celebrate our present, and welcome our future in a good way with an honor song for Chancellor Janet Schrunk Ericksen. We are honored to have with us today the Northern Wind Singers, a highly respected First Nations drum group from the Ojibwe Nation and Lake of the Woods, Ontario. One of the most powerful drum groups on the Powwow Trail today, they have been recognized with North American and Canadian Indigenous Music Awards. Gabriel DeRogier, a University of Minnesota Morris graduate and member of our faculty, is the lead singer, composer, and keeper of the drum. His work and the music of the Northern Wind Singers is featured in a number of Indigenous studies and ethnomusicology texts. Gabe is an Anishinaabe-Moan first speaker and a leader in Minnesota's Indigenous language revitalization movement. We are very proud to have Gabe teaching the Anishinaabe language and American Indian cultures at Morris. Today's honor song recognizes Dr. Ericksen's achievements and installation as our 7th chancellor at the University of Minnesota Morris. And it extends beyond her to all who are with us today who dedicate their lives to the highest levels of learning, teaching, research, leadership, and achievement in education. As you are able, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats and caps for the Northern Wind Singers and an honor song for Chancellor Ericksen and for all the accomplished learners, teachers, and leaders in education who are with us today.
Miigwech Northern Wind Singers. Thank you very much. The chair of the University of Minnesota Board of Regents, Janie Mayron, is a retired United States magistrate judge and lawyer. As a lawyer, she specialized in civil litigation and mediation. She has held numerous leadership positions in a variety of nonprofit and legal organizations, including as president of the University of Minnesota Alumni Association. For her service to the public and the law, Regent Mayron received the University of Minnesota Alumni Service Award, the WCCO Good Neighbor Award, and the Highland Park Senior High School Hall of Fame Award. Regent Mayron received both a Bachelor's of Arts degree in sociology and a law degree from the University of Minnesota. Please welcome Regent Mayron.
Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of the University of Minnesota Board of Regents, thank you all for joining us for this celebration. And congratulations to you, Dr. Janet Ericksen, on your inauguration as Chancellor of the University of Minnesota Morris, the 7th since its founding in 1960. While the University of Minnesota system is made up of 5 distinct campuses, you know, and we all know, that the Morris campus is unique. Morris attracts some of the brightest and most inquisitive students from across Minnesota, the nation, and the world. This is a very special place. I've been thinking about Morris and what drew Chancellor Ericksen here some 25 years ago. And I know a place has a lot to do with it. But the mission of the campus, a public liberal arts college with a focus on student engagement, also attracted her to this place. As I've seen and heard from the community during my visits to Morris, I know firsthand how critically important your commitment to the community engagement can be. Chancellor Ericksen, we are excited to have you here as a leader on this campus in the University of Minnesota system and in the Morris community. We look forward to the vibrant future of this place under your continued leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Mayron. Jeff Attinger became the interim president of the University of Minnesota on June the 10th of this year. Before that, he was the CEO of Hormel Foods Corporation in Austin, Minnesota, from 2005 to 2016, where he was responsible for a $9 billion annual budget and 20,000 team members. While there, Jeff was named by the Harvard Business Review as a best performing CEOs in the world in 2016. He went on to serve as chair of the Hormel Foundation from 2017 to 2023. Attinger has been the executive fellow at the University of Minnesota's Carlson School of Management, where he created and co-taught an agribusiness course with Professor Mark Bergen. He has been a guest lecturer at Dartmouth, UCLA, Iowa State, Michigan, Kansas State, and St. Cloud State on topics related to business management, leadership, and the law. Jeff holds a bachelor's degree and a law degree from UCLA. And now I invite Interim President Attinger to the podium to begin installation of the Chancellor. Jeff.
Well, thank you so much, Pei, and good afternoon to everyone. It's great to be back on the Morris campus. It's truly an honor for all of us to be here today, participating in the inauguration of Janet Schrunk Ericksen as the 7th Chancellor of the University of Minnesota Morris. The Morris campus is such an important part of our University of Minnesota system, a public liberal arts college with a firm commitment to sustainability and rich student experiences. The Morris campus is a community of learners and scholars where students are highly engaged with the faculty, staff, and their peers. We've heard many wonderful things about Janet already throughout the program, but I want to highlight her deep connection to the Morris campus and the community. Not just the community of Morris, Minnesota, but indeed after 25 years with her family here, she's definitely a key part of that community. But in all the ways she has created community throughout her career, Janet is a valued thought partner to me, to her fellow chancellors, fellow faculty members, Morris campus leadership, governance groups, and students, just to name a few. Janet, your passion for helping students reach their potential, challenge themselves, and become well-rounded citizens through this liberal arts education is so critical for the leadership of this campus at this time. With that, I would now like to invite Dr. Schrunk Ericksen to join me for the formal installation. Found this in the podium. Thought I was going to have to ask the ring bearer, okay, where's the ring? Janet, by the powers vested in me as the president of the University of Minnesota system, I hereby declare you, Janet Schrunk Ericksen, Chancellor of the University of Minnesota Morris, with all its rights, privileges, and responsibilities. Congratulations. So on behalf of the Board of Regents and the entire University of Minnesota community, it is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Schrunk Ericksen, our 7th Chancellor, for her remarks. Thank you.
I'm going to prove Gwen right. Us is Richt Mitchell, or in modern English, for us it is greatly right. I'll finish that sentence in a minute. First, though, I want to consider this introductory phrase on its own, and I'm sure I will sound like the English professor I am in doing this. The 4 words together assert common community and common purpose, and they affirm both as the foundation on which all that follows stands. Communal identity comes first, us, which translates to for us, followed by the assumption that the audience shares agreement on what is Richt Mitchell, greatly right. The phrase, us is Richt Mitchell that, forms the first line on the first page of a book copied in about the year 975 in England, and it opens a poem written more than 1,000 years ago in an early version of English known as Old English. On the handwritten calfskin page, the assertion of communal emphasis is even more amplified by the enlarged and decorated U in that first word, us. The book in which this poem survives and its narrative poetry contents have been a major focus of my research for more than 30 years, and I'm not tired of the study yet. I still find more in that book to be surprised by, to be curious about, and to learn from. The persistent sense that this subject, and specifically this one book, still have so much more to teach me is, I think, a central element of my connection to the University of Minnesota Morris. And the phrase, us is Richt Mitchell, underscores that connection and my role in the position of Chancellor. For us, it is greatly right that we strengthen and elevate our community and common purpose. And it is greatly right for us to be guided by deep enthusiasm for learning. Our purpose here is to pass that on. For us, it is greatly right to be part of this public liberal arts college within the University of Minnesota, and at the same time to recognize the distinctive history of this place and the people in it. It is greatly right for us, too, to figure out together new ways to build on the past for a strong future, and to elevate our commitment to sustainability in all the senses of that word, to create together and with a recommitment to shared purpose the new history of this distinctive institution. Carol Anderson, the Charles Howard Candler Professor of African American Studies at Emory University, recently defined history as, quote, our story, or rather, the complexity of our story and our stories. She emphasizes that history is not a single story, although we should all study history. For if we, quote, begin to treat things as if this was the first time or the only time, like it has no roots, we lose the ability to see the vibrancy of what could be, and we become more divisive. To scale that big definition down to this campus and this place, our history is multiple and complex, and the vibrancy of what we are and could be must acknowledge that. I have the privilege of a long history at this campus with an abundance of stories. Stories of so many students, such as that of our Morris Campus Student Association speaker today, as well as the color guards and the Eagle staff carrier. Students I've had the pleasure of teaching over more than 2 decades here, and am immensely glad to have known and still to know, including some of whom are now my colleagues, such as Carrie Adams and Josh Johnson, who humble me regularly with their accomplishments. Stories of colleagues, and I'm so grateful for the support I have found here, from co-teachers and from extraordinary problem-solving staff members, from my writing group colleagues and my division chair colleagues, and from my administrative colleagues locally and across the University of Minnesota system, as well as far beyond it. Communities of practice form an essential part of the work we do, and I deeply value the ways multiple communities and perspectives add to our stories. Co-teaching with Jim Toges has been one remarkable part of my Morris story, shaping me as I learned how fully he exemplifies the ideals of liberal arts education as a chemistry professor whose collection of books on the medieval poet Dante far exceeds what many medievalists own, and who has always beautifully yoked his own enthusiasm for learning to student learning. Working with Gwen Rudney in multiple roles has been another influential part. She listens and advises well, and her consistent centering of the student experience, along with her deep knowledge of how people learn, has been invaluable, as has her sense of humor. I am privileged to work closely now with a group of extraordinarily dedicated administrative colleagues on this campus who regularly demonstrate what it means to put community interests first. And my administrative story includes, too, all I learned from my immediate predecessor in the role of chancellor, Michelle Baer, and my thoughtful and inspiring fellow chancellors across the system. Pei Ng and Arne Kildegard have been part of my administrative and faculty story in such important ways, as have my medievalist colleagues serving as faculty marshals today, Jimmy Scriver and Lisa Bevavino. In this place, too, Gabe DeRosier has helped immensely in re-envisioning our campus story and in my engagement with the multiple histories of this place. As Ogama Ikwe, I thank you and thank the Northern Wind Singers for being part of this and so many other events. Your voices and stories are of such importance here, in this place, and for our shared purpose. One more key part of my story here is a quietly extraordinary teacher and mentor on this campus, as well as an exceptionally patient editor and supporter, my husband, David. And thank you to my family here today, as well as a couple of key people who are instead in a grad school lab or at work in nursing and couldn't be here. The various communities of practice we are each part of and intersect with shape our stories, individually and collectively, creating the history and vibrant future of the University of Minnesota Morris. At UMN Morris, we know each other well enough that we really can excel at mentoring each other as well as students. And while that is sometimes hugely challenging work, it can be, as so many of us know, also immensely rewarding and a powerfully distinctive reason for this public liberal arts campus to thrive. I pursued the role of chancellor for this campus because I deeply believe in our mission and in the power of our people. And I think that my history in this place can be of service at this moment in our campus history, when we find ourselves a smaller institution than we have been in recent years. We are small, and we can make much of being so. Among the many books on my many bookshelves is the former UMN Morris Chancellor Sam Schumann's study of small colleges at the beginning of the 21st century. In it, he references a book that is both on his and my shelves by an architect, Sarah Susanka. Susanka gained national prominence when her book, The Not So Big House, became a bestseller about 25 years ago. Susanka argued that, quote, where smallness can feed the spirit, largeness for its own sake is enervating. Schumann cites Susanka's connections between her specific interest, residential architecture, and larger social contexts, as well as her belief that, quote, residential structures need to link mission with scale. She looks first at what a home is designed to do, for whom, then asks how large it should be. The answer, of course, writes Schumann, for both homes and for colleges is exactly big enough to do what it seeks to do in the very best possible way. Schumann goes on to sum up in ways that still resonate strongly and are, I believe, even more important now. Quote, large universities offer a range of learning and a depth of expertise that can be endlessly stimulating. Small colleges embody the values of human-scaled communities and the possibilities of an undergraduate education with integrity. In them, we teach, learn, and work with people we know and care about deeply. And the learning that goes on at such places can, at its best, permeate all areas of collegiate life. The classroom, the performance hall, the athletic field, the dormitory, the laboratories, the office, and the bench under one of the trees out on the grassy mall. While we continue to focus energy and attention on steadying our enrollment, we must also find new ways to make the most of being small. And we can draw on our history of extraordinary mentoring and use that to build our vibrant future, whether a student is studying rural energy economics or American Indian policies, or a field in which our reputation is a little less nationally recognized. More intentional embrace of mentoring and more recognition of and support for the work that goes into good mentoring are key parts of a UMN Morris experience. I look forward to making it more so, helping build and support the rich complexity of our story and our stories. The University of Minnesota Morris as a public liberal arts college is not duplicated anywhere in Minnesota or really anywhere that I know of. And what we offer, the ways we educate and who those students we educate are, matters now more than ever before. We read every day about inequities and divisiveness, and we at UMN Morris are a small but powerful force countering that. We provide to students from a broad array of contexts an education that includes experience with and discussion across multiple perspectives, and with locating and evaluating evidence, an education that, because of our scale, allows us really to see every single student and to offer every single student an opportunity to hold a leadership role of some kind and to be part of a team or working group or student organization, a distinctively well-mentored experience. This is a collective effort and a community strength, accomplished both together and individually, and a story to amplify. I need your help to do so, and I ask for a collective dedication to this as a priority, that we unite around this piece of our story. This is everyone's work and for the common good of this public liberal arts college. For us, it is greatly right to center that as we pursue the vibrancy of what could be. Thank you, all of you, for your part in the many histories and the fantastic future of the University of Minnesota Morris.
Congratulations, Chancellor Ericksen. And now, please welcome Kiana Bikro with greetings from our University of Minnesota Morris students. Kiana serves as Vice President of the Morris Campus Student Association and was one of 2 students who served on the University of Minnesota Morris Chancellor's Search Committee. Don't you just miss those days? Okay. Kiana is Oglala Lakota, born and raised on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. Kiana will graduate in May 2024 with majors in economics and Native American and Indigenous studies. She is a thrower on the Cougar track and field team, and she's a McNair Scholar who is currently applying to graduate programs across the United States. Kiana?
Hamadakiapi. Lakotia chaje I tate amaniwi e machiapi. Na wasitria chaje kiana bikro machiapi. Malakota na owak bamni makoche ekta na kangi tanka tioshbaya e mataha. Na wani etu wikjemna manupa samnupa. Hello everyone. My Lakota name is Walks with the Wind Woman, and my English name is Kiana Big Crow. I'm Oglala Lakota. My homelands are in Pine Ridge, South Dakota. I come from the Big Crow family, and I'm 22 years old. I want to begin by extending my gratitude to everyone who traveled to the prairie to celebrate the inauguration of Chancellor Ericksen with us. Chancellor Ericksen, I bring greetings and hearty congratulations on behalf of the Morris student body. We celebrate your inauguration and look forward to continuing our collaboration with you to strengthen this campus, which we all love. From what I understand, Chancellor Ericksen, aka Janet to the students here, was in fact quite reluctant to have a day focusing on her. So we'll focus on me for a second. As a first-generation Indigenous student, leader, and athlete, Morris has provided tremendous opportunities that would have been sparse elsewhere. Through my time here, I participated in 2 sports, a few organizations, and numerous programs providing academic and ethnic support. To name a few, I've had the opportunity to step into leadership roles for the Morris Campus Student Association in my last 2 years. And through the McNair Scholars Program, I conducted research on Indigenous educational attainment in the U.S. with Dr. Bibu Dutapanda, our economics discipline coordinator, the best professor I've ever had, and now my faculty mentor. Being the vice president of the Morris student body and representing this diverse group of students has been the highlight of my academic career. I have learned how to create and foster relationships with students and faculty of different backgrounds. In fact, 47% of our student population come from racial and ethnic backgrounds historically under-included in the U.S. higher education system. These are Native American or American Indian, Hispanic or Latino, Black or African American, Asian, and international students. Amongst our diverse community, student organizations and university-sponsored events provide opportunities for all students to engage in intercultural meals and activities, the best preparation for our diverse world. For example, our Circle of Nations Indigenous Association hosts an annual powwow, the largest student-hosted event on campus, as well as an annual round dance. Our La Union Latinx organization holds an annual celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month with a food truck and DJ on campus. Our Black Student Union hosts an annual homecoming dance and fashion show. Our Asian Student Union hosts an annual Taste of Asia meal and celebration. Our International Student Association is funding Food Odyssey trips. Our Morris Queer Student Initiative for Equality organizes Coming Out Week events and an annual drag show. Our TRIO programs provide student success resources for students from first-generation and low-income backgrounds. I'm personally very grateful for the McNair Scholars' support for undergraduate research, conference and symposium presentations, and graduate school preparation as I'm applying to master's and PhD programs after Morris. This campus comes with distinctive and challenging responsibilities of supporting the vision of diversity, equity, and inclusion, making Chancellor Ericksen's role in that vision much more unique and important. Through our collaboration with Janet, it is evident that she is equipped to support the providence of equity and diversity. She has also shown willingness to accept new perspectives and take accountability. In her role as interim chancellor, she displayed great ability to create and foster University of Minnesota system-wide, city government, student-centered, and tribal relations through multiple initiatives. In doing so, she has exemplified great attentiveness to this institution and what it takes to create a welcoming, inclusive, and collaborative environment ready to bring our strategic vision to life for the benefit of our students, our community, and the state of Minnesota. It is with great pleasure that I welcome Chancellor Ericksen on behalf of the student body. We look forward to continuing our work with you. Pilamayaye. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiana. On behalf of all of us at the University of Minnesota, we extend our congratulations, gratitude, and partnership to the 7th Chancellor of the University of Minnesota Morris, Dr. Janet Schrunk Ericksen. I want to thank all of you for attending this ceremony and celebrating with us. We hope you will join us across the hall in Oyate Hall and on the campus mall for more celebration featuring food trucks, stands, games, a little friendly axe throwing. The operative word is friendly, okay? And scintillating conversations. Everyone is welcome. You will receive a ticket for a free food item from the food trucks booth as you exit the auditorium. And for now, we ask that you please remain in your seats until the entire platform party and delegates have recessed from Ericksen Auditorium. Please join me in saying cheers to Chancellor Ericksen and to the University of Minnesota Morris. Congratulations, Janet.
Thank you.